The All Blacks versus the Springboks at Twickenham this weekend is going to be an absolutely mouth-watering clash. In their last 5 meetings, the All Blacks won 3 and the Springboks won 2. The team that scored the first try won 80% of the games, and the scores have been very close. So for these ones, it's been 26 to 23 in favour of the All Blacks in these 5 games. So we can expect a close one. Yes, we all know that this is the biggest rivalry probably in international rugby, and both teams have been playing their cards fairly close to their chest in recent times. But with the way that these teams were selected, it looks like it's as close as their full strength teams as you probably see in the World Cup. One commentator actually put it really nicely in saying that both teams actually chose violence for this game, and you can expect an action-packed 80 minutes for this game. Let's first look at the forwards for both teams. For the All Blacks, there really aren't any weaknesses. They're playing their legendary Dane and Sam Whitelock in that pack, and they have the very hard-working Ardie, Savea and Scott Barrett in there as well. The rest of the players are always going to contribute positively as well, and having Papali'i on the bench is also just an extra advantage. I do, however, feel that South Africa have the advantage on the forward side. They just have a bit more of a dominant forward pack, and I think on the day they will be a little bit too much for the All Blacks. They will be playing probably their best number 1 to 8 at the moment that they have available, and it'll start off with Malherbe and Marks and Kitsoff in the front row, the very experienced and effective Etzebeth and Mostert in the second row, and then the loose trio of Vermeulen, Pieter-Steph du Toit and Siya Kolisi. I think they're going to be tops. So I think just overall there's going to be a little bit too much from this forward pack for the All Blacks to contend with. In the backlines, things get a lot more interesting. Interesting, however, is not always the best thing, and I think in this game there's going to be a clear difference between these two backlines. The All Blacks backline probably holds the advantage, and I don't think anybody would argue that this is probably the strongest backline that you will see in the World Cup overall. The players that they have in there are absolute killers, and they can finish from all over the park. All starts with a very accurate passing and box kicking from Aaron Smith. With the way that he distributes, it's just excitement and elusive running that you'll see outside of him. Ritsi Moanga will line up in the fly-off position, but he'll probably swap at regular intervals with Beauden Barrett depending on where they are on the field. You will also see Beauden Barrett joining the back line as kind of an extra 12 or outside Ioane to put away some of those dangerous runners outside. Some of their world-class finishers include Beauden Barrett, definitely Will Jordan, Talia and Ioane. So if they get the chance to run, they're going to run rampant. So South Africa are going for more of an experimental backline, and it's good that they do it now because you can't test it against anybody more dominant than the All Blacks. The only problem with this experimentation is you have a lot of combinations that aren't used to each other, and that might cause a little bit of an issue for them in the game. The kicking thus far for Manie Libbok has been questionable at best, but the excitement that he brings to the backline and the creativity is something that could help the Springboks on the day. The most interesting of the lot is actually the centre combination, where you have Esterhuizen slotting in at 12 and Moody slotting in at 13. There will be a few challenges for that combination, though. They can be very prominent on attack if they get it right, but there's not that understanding between those two yet. The bigger challenge, however, will be in how they organize the defense, and they need to make sure that the whole backline is actually as effective as they possibly can be, because if the All Blacks come running, you need to be able to stop them effectively. The biggest challenge would be for young Moody in that 13 jersey, where he'll be facing up directly with Ioane. It'll be interesting to see where he's at mentally in facing that challenge. I definitely expect a war of attrition. At times it will be spectacular. Most of the times probably not as spectacular, but it's going to be a hard-fought clash for 80 minutes. The All Blacks effectively absorb the pressure from South Africa and then strike back as they usually do on the counter-attack when South Africa loses concentration for a little bit, they're going to come back, away with the win. If South Africa, on the other hand, don't lose their concentration, they're able to keep the All Blacks from running with all of the creativity that they've got. I think they'd be able to actually squeeze out the weak victory there in the end. It would, however, be a good mental step up for the team that does win, but with the professionals that they are, you don't need to worry that they're going to be sulking if they do lose this game. They're probably just going to feed off that as part of the motivation to drive hard in the World Cup. In the end, I do, however, feel South Africa will be able to put it all together for 80 minutes and keep their focus throughout the game. And I expect the game to end with a 10-point victory for South Africa. The score roughly 30-20 in favour of South Africa.